With the skill level you get as a lawyer, you can almost always find work and be creative, like for me.
All right. So, welcome to the You Are Lawyer podcast. Elaine Lee, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Yes. So, I was really excited to see your information come through. You have a lot of really cool experience. Would you share a little bit about yourself with the podcast audience?
Yes, I have figured out a way to combine my life as an attorney and my soul's work as a travel journalist. How I came to that realization and how I manifested is, I think, an interesting story. Yeah, well, where would you like me to start?
So, when I hear of travel and attorney, I just don't think the two work, right? Are you traveling with a laptop? Did you decide you wanted to make work look the way you wanted to? Did you have an example? Like, what? Did you grow up traveling? What?
Yes, well, that's a good question. At age about, 30 or so, I started the first law center for battered women here in California. And that was very challenging and very demanding. I was like 82 or something like that. And I had to draft forms for the Judicial Council. And I had to train the police, the first police training for domestic violence. It was just, seeing 500 clients a year. It was with my nonprofit. It was a very, very demanding lifestyle. And I suppose you would call me a workaholic, being a civil rights women's attorney. And one of the women that I worked together with to create the county's first domestic violence council, the Alameda County Domestic Violence Council, where we brought the judges and the police and the DAs and the public defenders together to try to create a countywide approach to dealing with this issue, which prior to that had been hands off. Oh, family violence, oh, that's a family affair. Yeah, we don't have anything to do with it. So I'm so proud, to have been a maverick and a pioneer in turning that around in my community. But the woman who I started that council with said to me that her husband was going to be getting a 6-month sabbatical in Paris for his professorship job. And why don't I come visit her for 3 weeks or so? I'd have my own room, my own bathroom. She'd cook for me. But I wasn't, really into vacationing. I'm busy saving the world. But she kept pushing, kept pushing, kept pushing. And after a while, I thought, maybe I need a vacation. Maybe I need a vacation. Anyway, she finally got me to agree to come. And I had heard interesting things about Paris. Anyway, off I went. Within hours of arriving, I was like, oh my God, I am in love with this city. And I feel like this city's in love with me. She taught me how to, navigate the subway, do the money, the time, everything. She got me started, and then off I went. And I just had such a magnificent time. In the course of this 3 weeks, I managed to find this African American barbecue joint, and I walk in that my friends had told me about, and I walk in and I say, I'm trying to find Randy, the owner, and the guy says, well, I'm Randy, and I said, well, I'd love to eat at your restaurant tonight, and he said, oh, I'm so sorry, I don't serve solo diners, and I was like, what do you mean? And he said, that's just how I roll, and I'm looking at him all prepared. He said, oh, but I have a solution. So he takes me through the restaurant to a banquet room, and he sits me down in this party, a dinner party. And I'm looking around, and it's like, oh, these women are so beautiful, and the men are so handsome. It's like, what? No, where am I? Turns out it was the end of Fashion Week, and these were all models and photographers. And listening to them talk about their lives, about their travels around the world, just made me think, oh my God, this is what living is all about. And they set me next to this guy, and I'm sure he put me there for a reason. They were teasing him, saying, Richard, we love how you live. You vacation 2 months, and then you work 2 months. And he said, vacation? I don't take vacations. This is my lifestyle. This is how I live. That was a soul-defining moment for me. Right then, right there. I was like, I have a death style. He has a lifestyle. I'm changing my life. I mean, I know therapy. I didn't know. I just knew then. Later that evening, they got him to, especially when they learned more about me and my lame little passport. They got him to get his passport out. He had 52 stamps to Africa alone. He had 2 accordion pages on the back of it from where all the places he had been. And I was just like, you know what? Oh no, this is what I want for my life. So when I got back to the States, I went to my financial planner. I was like, okay, I'm 38 years old, and by 40, I want to take my first trip around the world. And she says, okay, let's plan your finances. We planned my finances, and I took my first trip around the world at 40, and it was so magnificent. I had such a great time. At the end, as I was flying from Bali back to the States, I was like, oh my God, I love to travel and I love to write. Maybe I'll become a travel writer, because I want travel to be a permanent part of my life. And also thinking of the incredible fear that I had when I was leaving the States for this trip because I had never had a role model. I'd never seen a Black woman who traveled around the world alone at that. And my mother swore I was trying to kill her, but I wasn't. I remember that I had met a travel writer at a party a few years ago, and I asked that contact person could she put me together with her, and she did. And that woman took me under her wing, invited me to join that Bay Area Travel Writers Association, and I read travel writing books, took travel writing classes. I started writing travel articles. Yeah, because when I took that trip, I let go of my nonprofit, and I was just yeah, I had invested wisely, so I didn't have to work at that time. But then, after a while, it was like clear I had to go back to work. So I decided to be start working at a foundation. I thought I need an easy job so that I can do my travel writing. And being a regular lawyer was just too much. So I thought I'd be a program officer and give away money for a living. And then that gave me the freedom to do my travel writing. What I found out, because it was still so early in the late 70s and Black travel writing wasn't a thing, Essence wouldn't publish any of my stories, Black Enterprise. I couldn't get anybody to publish my stories. And I was like, well, this is weird. I think this is fascinating information, particularly my first trip to Africa, blah, blah, blah. Won't African American people want to know about that? So I got nowhere. And one of my colleagues said, you know what, Elaine, why don't we just write a book together? Let's just do a travel book since there hasn't been one since the Green Book. And so we put together a proposal and sent it to a women's travel book company, and they accepted the offer. And then we were getting ready to start working on it. And my gal pal was like, Elaine, I'm sorry. I thought this was a good idea, and I do, but Alice Walker has just asked me to be her biographer, so I'm going to have to leave you on this project and go with this. And so the publisher said, well, have you written anything? I mean, and I was like, well, I've written, but not published. And she's like, how can I trust you to do a book and you've never written us? And my gal pal said to her, Elaine, you can rely on her. She's first class. She's going to do it on time. You give her an assignment, she's going to handle it. And so the publisher said, well, you don't have a name. So how are we going to do this? So I'll publish your book if you can find 5 famous Black women to let you publish their stories. It needs to be an anthology. Since you don't have a name, go find some people with a name. So I ended up publishing Go Girl, the Black Woman's Book of Travel and Adventure, which has Alice Walker in it, of course, Maya Angelou, Andre Lord, Barbara Chase Ribo, and Gwendolyn Brooks. So I found some famous Black women to join me in this journey, and I was able to get my first book published, an anthology called Go Girl. So that's a long answer to a short question. But it kind of gives you an idea. I'll just stop there and you can guide me where you want me to go.
I love it though. I think that was the perfect answer because I'm a storyteller. So if there's a story, tell me the story. I always say people like when I ask you how you are, give me the long answer.
Oh, really? Okay, all right.
So that was perfect. So I'm laughing. I'm 41 years old right now. And so I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'm just beginning. There's still so much stuff I can keep doing. So I love to hear that. And then I'm also laughing because I have nieces and stuff that are young, and I'm just trying to imagine what they would think if someone said, you don't have a name, go find people with a name and do this, right? Like they would be offended and be like, never mind, I'm not going to do it. And you were like, okay, I can do that. That's no problem. Paris is the second place I ever went to with my passport. and I fell in love with the city. It's absolutely beautiful. And I went during, it wasn't Christmas time, it was the second week of December because I really like cold weather, and
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely beautiful. If I would have waited one more week when they had all the lights and glitz out, but they were like still setting it up, right? We would be
Mm-hmm.
leaving dinner at 11 p.m. and they were out there hanging lights. And but also you're a lawyer, and I like that the lawyer part is like a tiny bit of your entire story. That's the entire point of this podcast, right? What's your life outside of the courtroom?
Mm-hmm.
And you were the best example because you mentioned the advocacy and the domestic violence. You've run businesses, you've started a nonprofit. So that part, like there's so many things we can grab. I think that I would call you a risk taker.
Yeah.
How would you say that having a law degree has encouraged you to take risk?
You know, it gives you the security to know, you know, you're going to land on your feet somehow or another. I mean, with the skill level you get as a lawyer, you can almost always find work and be creative. Like for me, being a program officer, little did I know when I got into the philanthropy world, there were women lawyers everywhere. It was like, oh, this is the perfect job for a woman lawyer because you got flex time, you make good money, and it's not stressful. And I didn't know that was a bastion for Black women lawyers. But again, when you have these skills, you know, you can navigate and you can sell yourself. I mean, so I did that for 5 years while I worked on my book. And then from there, I had to stop working to take care of my mother for the last year of her life. And I talked to my financial planner again. See, this is the other thing, have a financial planner. And I told her I needed to stop working. And so she taught me how to do day trading. So I was able to, with my intelligence, able to understand that and make money to support myself, and also make money to invest in real estate. And so then that created another comfort level. And hallelujah, I was able to spend every day of my mother's last year of her life with her. I mean, I love being a lawyer that I live at choice. You know, I have the skills and the ability to maneuver things in this society that help support where I need to go and what I need to do. And also humble enough to know I don't have the information to plan my finances, but I have a network, and I'm going to find the perfect person to help me take it to the next level. So humility and intelligence are two things that really come in handy. And then after I stopped working at the foundation and helped my mother cross over, I started my own little law firm doing estate planning because I wanted to be able to travel. And I thought estate planning, I could do the work, stop and go travel, and do the work and stop and go travel. So trying to design a law practice that would support my lifestyle was what I had in mind. But little did I know, Black people are averse to estate planning. I mean, Americans in general are averse to Black estate planning, but Black people for sure. So that wasn't going very well for the first couple years. And my financial planner again said, let's vision how much money do you actually need now that you have the real estate. Let's see. And so we figured out how much money I needed. She said, we came up with the idea that I needed to work part-time, then I could travel. This is my soul's work, being a travel journalist. And there has to be a way to do this. Turned out one of my colleagues, he was having some health challenges, and he asked me to take over his law firm while he rehabilitated. So I took over his law firm for him, a real estate litigation law firm. And I'd had some experience with real estate and litigation because when I first started practice, I worked at Legal Aid. And so he went 2 months away. He said, you can have all the money that comes in, just keep it together till I come back. Then he came back to his law firm 2 months later, and he realized with his health, it was too compromised. Elaine, you can just have the law firm. He just gave me his law firm. And it was a part-time law firm. And it came with a very experienced paralegal who could hold things down while I travel. And I really felt that it was really a blessing because I'm doing my soul's work. I am a travel journalist. I'm a traveler. This is what I do. And the universe supported me and just gave me this law office with furniture, with books, with a paralegal. I just walked right in. I mean, there were quarters in the drawers. There was his umbrella. There was his license. He just walked away. So that had supported me for the next 10 years. And now so my paralegal has died. And so now I'm winding that part of my law practice down, and I'm going to just do solo practice, things that aren't too complicated. I'm going to try to avoid litigation, try to just help my friends, my neighbors, my family with their affairs. So that's kind of where I am now, as well as trying to promote Go Girl 2, which came out last year. And so that's kind of what's filling up my life now.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for your loss, but you're paralegal. I know that's difficult. And I do think, yes, this law firm fell into your lap, but because you were experienced, right? Because you have that law degree, and we can learn anything. I think that everything in life is figure it outable, but you also have to have that curiosity to want it. Right? So here you come and you're like, all right, universe, all right, thanks, financial planner. I need a part-time job. Oh, here's a law firm, and I already enjoy real estate, and I'm completely capable to take care of it. And it's like, of course, like you decided, and then you saw all the signs that, yes, you made the right decision. This is what you're going to do. This is how it's going to work. So I love that part. I really think on this podcast, I typically tell people to take bigger risk, take better risk, because you're a lawyer. You always will know how to mitigate it. And if you don't, you have people in your phone that you can call who will help you figure out how to mitigate it. And so to you, I feel like you are like expressing everything I've been trying to share on this podcast in a completely new way, in a California way. Yeah. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So a couple things. When you introduce yourself as a travel journalist, how do people react?
Most people don't know what it is, or they're curious, or I've never met a travel journalist. And yeah, so most people don't quite know what it is, but are always interested in learning. It sounds like fun. That's like, it is. It's a fabulous lifestyle.
Yes. And so then when you follow up, or if the conversation keeps going and you're like, oh, well, I just have this part-time law firm. What?
I know.
I'm sorry, did I hear you correctly? So most people do not equate lawyers with being creative, lawyers with taking risk, lawyers with traveling, right? Isn't the whole point of being a lawyer to be sat down somewhere in a chair managing an office? So how did you give yourself permission to make your career and your life look like what you wanted?
Wow, that's a good question. It's just so many answers are just zooming through my mind right now. I just think it's important to live at choice and to understand what your soul's purpose is, and when I took some of my first trips, so much magic was happening, so many miracles, so many doors were opening to me that I knew this is what I was supposed to do. And so that gave me courage. And then I kind of, even before law school, kind of thought law would be a good idea because you could work part-time and make enough money to live comfortably, so the idea of working part-time was kind of in my brain. Also, I think, again, back to being a Berkeleyan, is that when I sat down with my financial planner and said, I want to see the world, when you sit down with people and really get clear about what it is you want in your life and state it, and it's amazing how things can happen. And then I think for me, being a lawyer, it's so funny that when I tell people I'm a travel journalist and I'm a lawyer, they gravitate to the lawyer part because that's more prestigious. It's like, well, why don't you lead with that? Because it's particularly older people, they think, that's impressive. But what I really am is a travel journalist who happens to be a lawyer, Yeah, it's just one of the many things that I do. And I'm so grateful to have this skill and have this ability to take care of myself and my family and my friends. I mean, people really need lawyers, and I'm happy that I have this ability to help folks.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, depending on where you are, that introduction can be different, right? If you're making a court appearance, the travel journalism part doesn't really matter right then.
No.
But I do think that it's important that we let people know that first of all, we're humanizing lawyers. We are regular people. We're not only in the office. We're not only in a suit. And we have interests outside of the law. So being a travel journalist in the career of a lawyer is brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. As you were speaking, it made me think about what you said earlier about estate planning and how a lot of Black people have an aversion to it. Most Americans do.
Most Americans,
But
yeah.
yeah, when I started to realize that risk taking was a big deal and exciting, that helped me do our estate planning because my husband's like, we need a will, we need a will. And I'm like, we're fine, it's okay, it's okay. But then I was like, hey, you're going to die. Why not make sure people are ready and prepared when it happens? It's not saying that it's going to happen next week, but I actually had to look at it as a risk. I was like, the risk of you doing something that's scary, you're supposed to lean into that. And I was like, all right, even though we're young, we've been married 2 years, let's plan our estate, right? And so I think that that's fascinating, especially because real estate, really heavy, estate planning, very heavy, domestic violence, very heavy.
Exactly.
And here you are, oh yeah, I just got back from Paris, I'm going to go do this. I know, not even that you put on the lawyer hat. I am not a monolith. I exist to be all of these people. I am all of them at once. And I think that that's a really fascinating and brilliant example. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And when you were saying that, I was thinking about how, like they seem juxtapositioned, lawyering and being a travel journalist. But the one thing that they have in common is that I have been about the business of empowering women. And, through my legal work with the domestic violence work, I was empowering women. And then with my books, geared to Black women travelers, I'm empowering women to see the world. So they seem like opposites, but they actually do have a thread of who I am on this planet and what I'm here to do and to lift up my sistren, and help them. Now, it's not enough for me to just enjoy a trip around the world. I am trying to awaken the global heart and encourage other people to embrace their global citizenship, so yeah.
Yeah, and of course, all of these things have you as the common denominator. So if you as one person can have all these interests, then yeah, you're showing people that, yeah, it can exist. Yeah. Okay. So Elaine, I have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
The first one is, if you were talking to a new traveler, do you have a favorite place that you've traveled to or country?
Oh, of course, that's not an easy answer for me. Depending on who this person is that's asking me. I mean, if it's a person of African descent, I'm going to strongly encourage that they go to Africa somewhere, at least once. I think that all Africans should go to Africa once, kind of like the Muslims go for a Hajj. But a lot of people like Ghana, I thought for me going to Egypt was very important if I was only going to go one place. And then I also love Namibia. That's a remarkable and unique society that's highly functional as well. And Seychelles Islands, if you just want easy Africa, that's another consideration. So if it was a non-African person, a person of non-African descent, I would say Thailand. I mean, I just happen to love Thailand, which so many people say. And that's what made me go. I've been there 3 times for a month each time. And the food and the clothes and the hospitality and the beaches and the mountains and and the massages, $5 an hour, and they're so good. Yeah, Thailand would be my favorite. But I love New Zealand. I love Brazil. Of course, love Paris. And yeah.
Yes, that definitely answered the question. I have a 5-year-old, and we try to take her on an international trip every 2 years. Wow. So we've been to Belize before, and then my husband is turning 40, and he's just trying to decide between Thailand or Japan. And so I'll tell him like, hey, Thailand, let's go to Thailand. So
yeah, if you can. I haven't been to Japan, but it's one on my wish list.
Okay, great. And then my last question, Elaine, and I ask this question to every guest that comes on. What would you say to a young lawyer, 5 years practicing or less, or a law student about what they could do with their law degree?
If they decide to go the corporate route, then I would say, set aside some time to do volunteer work with the local bar association or the Black Bar Association. Always create a way to give back, lift as you climb, as Mary Church Terrell would say. And I would say always consider a way to live a healthy lifestyle. If you're going to spend 40 plus hours a week trying to make money, why don't you spend at least a half an hour a day or several hours a week investing in your health? I started as a fitness swimmer at age 25, and that's part of why at age 73 I'm in perfectly good health and I'm on no medication, because not only creating a financial lifestyle, but a wellness lifestyle. I think that should be hand in hand. Your body is all health is wealth. That's what the real wealth is. Young people may not take that seriously because, they're all healthy, but, you have to start young to keep it that way. So I think young people that staying connected to the community and staying connected to your health are critical.
Yes, I think that's very, very important. My daughter is a swimmer, and we got her into swimming because my husband doesn't know how to swim. And it's funny because when you're an adult, it's really hard to get you to understand floating, right? And he's taking classes, and they're like, your body wants to float, and your mind just is like, I can't. But she started at 2 years old and took to it like a fish, and she loves it. And it's good for us because it's year round.
Uh-huh.
So she gets to go. I'm going to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll encourage her to keep going, and I'll make sure I get in the pool a couple times too. So,
good.
All right, cool.
Yeah. One other brief thing is that find out what it is that brings them joy. Whatever is bringing you joy, make sure you keep that in your life. Whatever makes that spark fly. For me, it's travel. And I'm blessed to have been to 70 countries and 2 solo trips around the world. So, I have been stoking the fire of joy within me. And I think that's important.
Yes, absolutely. So, Elaine, where can we find your book, Go Girl Travel?
Yeah, you could just Google me, Go Girl 2, or just Google Elaine Lee, and then Elaine Lee, travel writer, and it'll just pop right up. It's on Amazon, of course, like almost all books are these days. But and I have a website, and I have a social media presence. So just going to yougogirl.com, they can find me and what I'm up to and where I'm going next, things like that.
Yay! And I'm definitely going to make sure I grab a copy for myself, probably for my mom. I think she's going to come with us when we go to Thailand, and I think it might be her first international. No, she's been to Toronto, but her first time off of the North American continent.
Wow.
So, yeah, it'll be good. And she's 78, so it'll be good. Thank you.